I try and do this video by myself. These are nice, easy stays. They're narrow so they can get into the pocket of the ear, and still give you the flexibility to be able to give you a nice, good stretch. So I start off at the dollar store. It's a 6-pack of hair rollers, and inside of it there's a metal rod. So you need to push the foam back, and you'll need to clip off the tip and take out the metal piece of rod, which here's a metal piece of rod. I just clipped it at the end and pulled it out. And it's going to leave you this nice hole to stick your zip tie through. Now, the rods are usually too tall for your puppy's ears. So what I do is I cut off about 3/4 of an inch the first couple of posts, because their ears aren't stretched up yet, and as their ears grow and get a little longer, you'll be probably cutting off 1/2 inch. I doubt you'll ever need the full length, and you don't want to have all that extra length hanging off, because it just bumps into things, and if you have other dogs, they'll just try and chew on their ears more. So cut your foam down, and there's the hole, like I said. Then you're going to want to get 14-inch heavy-duty cable ties, and they're 120-pound tensile strength. And unfortunately, they usually come 100 in a pack. I've never seen a smaller pack for this size. So next I take the zip tie, I cut it in half, and I use the old-fashioned dog nail clippers. They work great because these ties are really thick. Ordinary scissors will not work. And then you have to cut the head off, because that won't go inside the nail clippers once you're done. So on this end, you got to cut that off so you have a clean end. Then I take and I Dremel the 2 cut edges so that they're rounded. And then I'm going to take on the edge that has the little ridges, and I'm going to use Gorilla White Glue. And I'm just going to put a thin line down the piece of glue, down the zip tie. And then we're going to slip it into our hair rod all the way. We're going to slip it all the way down to a 1/2 inch. And this 1/2 inch is going to be the part that goes in the puppy's ear. This way we don't have to worry about anything rubbing his ear that's hard and painful. Now, when you're sticking the zip tie in, it helps if you hold it flat to widen the hole, the shape of the zip tie. And then as you can see right here, there's no zip tie. So it's nice and it's soft and it's flexible and it's narrow to get in the dog's ear. And then I'm going to take my dog's nail clippers and I'm going to trim off that extra piece of zip tie. And here is my completed ear stay. That's the end that goes at the top of the ear. And that's the end that goes in the base of the ear, and that's the nice soft edge right there. Now, so that I can make it stick in the dog's ear, I'm going to reverse wrap. But first I'm going to do a couple of wraps at the base to cover up the foam, so they have some material, fabric, to help absorb any moisture. And then I'm going to start reverse wrapping where the zip tie begins. So this part's sticky, but at the very bottom, it's not sticky. So when I'm trying to stick it down into the pocket, I don't have to worry about the tape sticking to the side of the ear and not getting down in the pocket like I want it. And I forgot to tell you, one thing that you can do so that you know where to stop pushing the zip tie is you can figure out where you want that zip tie to end up, and then you can just take a marker and literally just mark the edge. And then you know where to stop. Okay, so here you can see I've started wrapping the tape, and that bottom portion, there's no stick to it. Then I'm going to start at an angle, and I'm going to start doing a reverse wrap on the stay. So, as I said, this part down here is not sticky, and then I reverse wrapped so that part is sticky. And obviously you're going to stick this down as far down into the bail, into that pocket as you can. And then once you get that down, you're going to stretch that ear while you're actually bending. You're bending this up into the ear to try and get that stretch. And when you get the tip of the ear, if you notice I have 2 pieces of tape, each one facing a different direction, so that as soon as I get that in there, I can quickly wrap it around the ear and hold that sucker into place. And then that gives me, I can let go and grab my tape or readjust the puppy. Now make sure you put that tape down far enough where you know you'll catch somewhere near the tip of the ear. If you put the tape up too high and your stay is too long, you'll miss the tip of the ear, and that was pointless. So make sure you go down far enough where you know you'll catch a piece of the upper ear tip. Yeah, hi Harmony. And that's it. There's your ties. And then of course you want to do staggered pieces of tape starting from the top, working your way down to the base. And that I can't do with one hand. Okay, so here are my other 3 pieces of tape. You might need 4 depending on how long your show crop is. And notice that they're different lengths, and there's obviously 2, 1 for each ear. And like I said, once I wrap that first top one, I start wrapping down, and that's all I can think of right now. Okay, so this is Ace. I did this by myself, no help. It's easier if you have someone to hold the dog. But here's where I put it in, and notice now I can let go. There's my first piece of tape that I went around his ear. And so I know I'm going to still need another piece up toward the top. And then I'm going to start wrapping from this piece going down. And each time you put a piece of tape around, make sure you pull that ear up to, so that you can get a nice, he's not cooperating, a nice tight, nice ear wrap. So here's the completed ear. It's okay for that tip to be hanging out there. As a matter of fact, that's what helps sets that little curl at the end. Most importantly, you want to make sure that you have that whole stay covered here, so that it can't really pop out. You got it's nice and tight around that ear entrance. And so hopefully that won't flip out. Now you might be able to use the rods one other time, but they're only $1 and they're no more expensive than backer rod, and I like that hole that's already in them. And by the way, if you notice, this is the first one I put on and it's way too long. So see, the dog's chewed on it, and it's way past his ear tip by a good inch. So make sure you cut the foam down so it's more to the length of the ear. It can be a little bit higher, but definitely not way higher. So already after his second posting, he could actually use the 1/2 inch off instead of the 3/4 inch off the foam. And very importantly, I don't remember if I already put this in the video, but you absolutely need to get Zoe's adhesive remover from Breen Laboratories. You can order it on Amazon, or you can call them and order it directly. This is the best adhesive remover in the world. It'll literally let the tape peel right off. I take off the cap and put a spray bottle on it. If you can't, you don't have to worry about getting the right size. As long as you get one that's too long, you can always cut that little thing at the bottom to make sure that the spray bottle fits. And then you just spray all around the ear, and then you do your little cut, and it usually comes right off without ripping off half their fur.